Alright, yo, what's up? It's me, yo. Okay, I'm just gonna stop saying yo. One of the interesting things about doing YouTube videos is that it's really easy to stop, um, with a good cadence, right? Like I had a good cadence going for a while because I was making a video almost every day about searching for eternal life and whatever. And that stopped working out because of all these rearrangements in my life. And I know I can't do that. It's really hard to remain consistent in your life when everything in your life seems like it's trying to get you to the point where it's taking you away from your end pursuit, right? Like, I think that's one of the challenges of life. And many people have challenges that are, I would say, even greater than that, right? But let's say we're in a place that we can self-actualize. I just jumped right into philosophy. I didn't even give you guys a chance to like warm up or whatever. So yeah, I'm trying to get back into these videos, and now let me go back to my philosophy. I don't want to re-record this. I just kind of want this to be stream of consciousness, okay? I have to record a new video every morning. It's just mandatory. I'm just figuring out the best time to do that because should I do it as I just get up? One of the challenges I've had for the last like 10 years in my life, seriously 10 years, is trying to come up with a good morning schedule and a good evening schedule before I go to bed. The reason why it's been a challenge is because there's been so many things in my life that have come in to cause things to shift, okay? And that can't really be the case. I mean, I've given lots of excuses in the past for that being the case, that, oh, well, I have to go to jury duty. And of course you gotta go to jury duty, right? I mean, you can shirk jury duty, see how that goes. But I mean, like, I think obviously you have to, if you're gonna get anywhere, move towards your purpose. Now, I haven't read a ton of Emil Goldstein or any of these thinkers, Joel Osteen, I don't know, Wayne Dwyer. Is Wayne Dwyer still alive? Let me see. Wayne Dwyer. He's not Bud Dwyer. Don't mistake the two. Wayne, he's probably still alive. I think he was famous enough that someone would have said something about him if he died. But anyway, yeah, Dr. Wayne Dwyer. Oh, 1940. Oh no, he died in 2015. That's sad. Okay. Your Erroneous Zones is one of the best-selling books of all time. So I have to go pick up Your Erroneous Zones. Remember, I want to read this. I want to know why he died also. He was only 75. That's not that old. He had a heart attack. That's sad. 29, he's been diagnosed with leukemia in 2009. So, I mean, maybe one was connected to the other. My beliefs are that the truth is a truth until you organize it and then becomes a lie. I don't think that Jesus was teaching Christianity. Jesus was teaching kindness, love, concern, and peace. What I tell people is I don't be Christian. Don't be Christian. Be Christ-like. Don't be Buddhist. Be Buddha-like. Religion is orthodoxy, rules, and historical scriptures maintained by people. Over long periods of time, generally, people are raised to obey the customs and practice of that religion without question. These customs and expectations from outside the person and do not fit my definition of spiritual. Actually, I would say that even as like pop psychology-ish as that sounds, that that sounds like it's definitely my kind of thinking, right? Also, he has 5 children and 2 stepchildren. Wow. With his third wife. Okay, so I guess, it depends on who you are, right? Like, you can have kids later in life or whatever. I mean, maybe that's where I'll be, but I think you have to move towards that. I'm stuck, being stuck sucks, right? Like, you have to identify with what makes you stuck, and you have to move forward, to the next thing. Coronavirus isn't helping, right? The whole coronavirus pandemic thing, the whole reorganization of society isn't really helping, But like, it's good to have some things that are solid in your life, right? Like breakfast, okay? Breakfast should be solid. I believe in that, and like I've recently reclaimed breakfast. Okay, I started eating today. I had a good honeycomb breakfast, right? because I don't want to get up and bring it here. You know what honeycombs are, right? Honeycomb, not that honeycomb. Actually, what the funny thing is, so I have I have a own a property, well, I'll co-own it with my mom, that where I have a dryer, and there's an old washer and dryer on the premises, and the dryer somehow it's in this dark laundry room that really doesn't have much access to anything, but inside the dryer lives a bunch of bees. Right, I've never seen them, but every time you aggressively smack the side of the dryer, the bees start acting up and get really angry and frustrated. So, I've been trying to figure out how to get rid of those bees from my dryer. And in fact, I might title this video "Bees in the Dryer." Okay, I at some point will go up to the dryer with the camera, tap on it, and you'll hear the audible increase of the bee sound as it gets up. But you know what? That's neither here nor there. I don't know why I'm talking about that. But the honeycomb thing reminded me of it. Okay, and honeycombs is the cereal I eat in the morning, and see how I bring everything full circle, right? Cereal. Okay. At one point in my life, I believe that I'll have advanced far enough to get a philosophy that I can talk about on YouTube. But, that philosophy of Wayne Dyer is pretty interesting to me. I've got to start reading more, books in that vein again. Like, I remember I was pretty happy reading, like, Wayne Dyer books. Like, even though a lot of people think that empowerment of the self is not a good idea, actually, I remember reading somewhere that, in the 60s and 70s was the rise of people like Susie Orstman or other people who talked about, like, empowering yourself so that you can, self-actualize. And actually, people have said that has led to an increase in self-involvement, in selfishness and narcissism, right? Like, and I thought self-help was, a good thing, right? Like, actually, the ideas behind self-help, I believe, helped elevate me in college past a point that was a very low point for me towards my senior year of college, where I was really concerned about the wrong things in life. And, I was not very forward-thinking, despite having grown up with a forward-thinking mentality and mindset. So it's really strange that, people, it's not strange that people shout down self-help, because a lot of MLMs and a lot of scheming is masked in the guise of self-help. But, it's people shouldn't, like, completely throw that out. Like, for example, I was a fan of Stephen Covey's Seven Effective Habits of Highly Effective People. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and then there's sister books and companion books, and then Bill O'Reilly created some kind of clone kind of thing of that, and I don't know, a number of people created like similar types of works, like 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. But, like, it made me think, actually, and one of the habits sticks to me to today, and it's about procrastination. And whenever I procrastinate on something I really need to do, which actually this weekend I'm really doing, it's not good, because then, an excess amount of my time is focused on the procrastinating aspect of it, and I'm just keep pushing it off really procrastination is not one of the habits of a highly effective person. But then again, like, I've defined over the last few years what is effective for me, right? I wanted to become more effective in music. I wanted to become more effective in my personal life. I wanted to be more effective handling my family situations, etc. So and I want to be more effective using my time, because until I figure out otherwise, remember, I'm on the search for eternal life, okay? But until I figure out otherwise, there's not going to be an effective use of my time. There's just not, and there's a limit until not an effective use. There's not going to. I have a limited amount of time on this planet, so until I figure out otherwise. So I'm going to keep pounding away at this until. But the thing is, it's very hard to find time to really make yourself adept at a subject that's not your primary professional subject. I'm a programmer professionally, and I've thought about, getting into the bioinformatics realm of learning and whatnot, and I'm gradually getting towards doing that. However, I'm trying to rebuild a baseline understanding of everything in biology, and it's pretty tough, because you know, every day, like there's something that comes up, and I just can't let it do that. I just have to really, you know, hammer into myself that constantly that this is a fight against the clock, that every day is a fight against the clock to be relevant, and you know, I have to anyway maintain myself. So like HoneyComb cereal, I just bought HoneyComb yesterday. I also had Lactaid Milk yesterday. Lactaid Milk is really good. Oh wait, let's look at Lactaid Milk first, because I've seen, you know, I'm mildly lactose intolerant. Lactaid Milk, and the thing is, I've, you know, within the last year and a half, I've discovered lactose-free milk. It's been around for a while, but it's basically milk that doesn't have lactose in it, which is the primary thing in dairy, which causes causes this negative side effects of someone drinking milk who is lactose intolerant. Okay, Lactaid Milk does not have a Wikipedia article, and it's a milk that I was lactate milk contains only lactase enzymes which break down the lactose into simple sugars, the galactose and glucose. When the sugar is broken down, it becomes easy for the persons who have problems with lactose. I believe lactose, I don't remember how much I spent on it, but I did get it. I live, you know, somewhere now where there's a Dwayne Reed very close by. I purchased Lactaid Milk from the store, and yeah, I mean, I've always seen Lactaid Milk, but for some reason the name bothered me, right? It seemed like some sort of medical supplement, like Ensure is like used for older people to be able, who can't eat food properly, right? So that's what I thought Lactaid Milk was, and I mean, I knew it wasn't that, but for some reason it was stuck in my mind. So I decided, after going to this Dwayne Reed, that they had two options of milk there that I could have. There were a few options, but they had only one type of lactose-free milk, which there's a few there, but it looks like Lactaid is the popular version. And then there's the regular milk that they had. And you know what? In some circumstances, I will go for the regular milk. I really wanted the Lactaid-free milk. But the regular milk in Dwayne Reed tastes very different from the regular milk that I'm used to. I had a container once, and you know, maybe you could say it was maybe expired or something. It didn't even taste like expired milk. It just tasted like something that was not familiar, alien to me, and that, you know, it's not something having grown up with milk, okay, having some foreign substance be called milk that is not anything like milk was bad. And so I, you know, took the, you know, jump head first in, and I bought the Lactaid, and you know, I was expecting also like a subpar lactose-free milk. I've had some of the ShopRite versions of lactose-free milk before, not a ShopRite, Stop and Shop versions of lactose-free milk, and that was a little, they taste a little different. They were sometimes sweeter. In fact, I wasn't sure if the lactose is sweeter than, you know, it's the polymer lactose, but you know, whatever. I like, and I tried it, Lactaid, and it tastes amazing. I couldn't tell the difference between Lactaid and regular milk. So, you know, I was quite happy with the end result for that. So, yeah, and plus I don't have all the negative side effects like the insane constant gas and all that stuff. Yeah, and that's too TMI, right? But, you know, lactose-free milk is good because, you know, as a lactose intolerant person, even just mildly lactose intolerant, all the milk that I was drinking was bad for my insides because those were causing inflammation, right? And I sound like a really old person right now talking about inflammation, but actually it's something that can affect people of all ages, and inflammation is bad because inflammation will, you know, I guess lead to cancer. I don't know, I would want to say in theory, because I've heard the association between inflammation and cancer. We can look it up now, in fact, but, you know, for now. Lactaid is not a good choice for children as a milk substitute. Pediatrician and Dr. Williams recommend that children with lactose intolerance should receive their calcium from other sources like yogurt. Why is lactose not good for Lactaid milk? Not good for babies? Is it, if it's good for me, it should be good for babies, right? No, not necessarily. Lactose intolerance is common, and many parents worry that a cockily baby, what is a cockily, or toddler with an upset stomach might be allergic to lactose. Other parents believe that if they give their child a lactose-free milk, they will spare the child the difficulty of lactose-induced stomach pain, which lactose-induced stomach pain was something that was fairly common with me. I would say more like the gassy side effects, again, TMI. In most cases, however, Lactaid milk is not a good choice for babies. Home milk may prove a problem. Okay, children under 1. Why is just say why. Not a good choice as a milk substitute, blah, 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 blah. Small without lact is not beneficial to children, may cause stomach problem and a decreased appetite. Some children's health experts have contend that children don't need milk at all. Even William Spears support that children don't need milk to be healthy and can obtain calcium from other sources. What other sources? Well, I guess like if you're meat eater, maybe you can eat bones. I don't know. For most human history, people have bones or calcium phosphate, so I guess you degrade calcium phosphate, etc. Most of human history, people have stopped drinking milk in early childhood, and no other animal species drinks milk as an adult. The World Health Organization recommends that mothers breastfeed children at least under the age of 2. Children who are breastfed for an extended period do not need to be supplemented with cow milk. Enough about milk. Okay, complete 180 on subject, or complete angle change on subject. I wanted to quickly talk about Inku. So I had a white-headed Conure back in for a few years. I think we got Inku in 2010, and unfortunately Inku died in 2015. Inku was a bird that was with us. We got Inku in 2011. Inku died in 2015. I didn't spend a ton of time with Inku, but Inku spent a ton of time with my father and my mother. Inku, I want to remember Inku because Inku was a very kind bird. Inku was not a very healthy bird. Inku couldn't fly on his own. He's a white-headed Conure, but he was very kind and he was very loving. And he spent a lot of time with my mom and dad. And I wanted to remember him, and I wanted, for eternity somewhere, quote eternity or virtual eternity somewhere, that he's remembered. I don't have Inku's pictures with me. I may find some in some albums when I dig through the albums in my house. But Inku was a white-headed Conure. Let's see if I can find something that looks like Inku. White-headed Conure. And you know what? I've fallen off on this, but I've started a white-eyed Conure. Yes, this is very close to what Inku was, but not really. Inku didn't have as much of a white section on his head. But my mom was very close to Inku, and Inku would come cuddle with my mom at night. And one day he just, he was sick. He had I remember taking him to the vet, trying to find somewhere where he could go. And I kind of sensed, having gone through the death of my father, I've kind of sensed at the time that he was, not long for this world. He was looking at me. I just kind of knew, and he kind of knew probably. And he closed his eyes, took his last breaths, and passed away. But I don't want to focus on the negative parts of his life. That was in 2016, 2015. I want to talk about, and my mom was going to say, I want to talk about the positive parts. Again, he was a very kind bird, and he should be remembered. He didn't just live to disappear forever. That's one of the things that I'm afraid of. My life is one that will disappear forever. And no, we existed. Inku existed. Inku was a very kind bird. Inku always fought with Tia, which is our other bird, which is a much more livelier cherry-headed Conure, which actually she has her own Instagram, and I've not been diligent in updating that Instagram, but yeah. So anyway, Inku, this wasn't Inku, but it looked very much like Inku, again, minus the size of the white cap, but the beak prominence, the way how sharp and hooked the beak was, though Inku never really bit anyone, but Inku was quite loud, I'll have to say. His sound literally could it could affect your ears. Like you could feel it in your eardrums when he made a sound. And I think that was part of the characteristic of this white-capped or white-crowned Conure type bird. The ability to pierce ears, because obviously it has to let the flock know. And Inku often let the flock know, which is us, about his existence. So anyway, I'm gonna go maybe again into Inku fresh in another video. I want to start off a video with Inku in the future, but yeah. Anyway, I'll talk about Tia too, right? I'll talk about Tia and Inku, and some of my other birds also. I had several throughout my life growing up. All right, so this video has gone on quite a while, so I'll see you guys later.